Everything you've been told about reality is backwards. Your thoughts, fears, desires, and even your destiny, those aren't random at all. There is an invisible force that's shaping it. 2,000 years ago, an ancient group discovered a hidden truth so dangerous that their writings were buried, banned, and erased completely from history. Now, let's start with this. The Bible contains a phrase repeated 365 times. Do not fear. But why? Who exactly benefits when humanity lives in fear? And what exactly were they trying to warn us about? Today, I'm diving into one of the most controversial texts discovered, a book so shocking that it completely flips the traditional Christian story upside down. And according to its teachings, the world is not what it appears to be. Most people know Judas as the disciple who betrayed Jesus, the villain, the traitor. Basically, the man whose name became synonymous for betrayal. What if I told you that history got it wrong? What if Judas wasn't the enemy, but the only disciple who actually understood what Jesus was teaching? That's exactly what the Gospel of Judas claims. Discovered in Egypt and hidden for centuries, this ancient Gnostic text shows a very different version of reality. One where the material world is ruled by cosmic powers called Archons. Now, according to the Gnostics, humanity isn't just asleep. We're imprisoned. And the prison is not made of bars. It's made of ignorance. Gnostics describe the Archons as rulers of the material world. Not physical rulers, not kings, not politicians, but invisible intelligence that influences human consciousness. Think of them as cosmic prison wardens or spiritual parasites. Their power comes from keeping humanity distracted, divided, fearful, and disconnected from its true nature. Now, whether you take this literally, symbolically, psychologically, or spiritually, the message here is fascinating. Because according to these texts, the greatest threat to the Archons isn't rebellion, it's awareness. The moment you begin questioning the system, their control starts to weaken. Now, here's where things get even stranger. Another Gnostic text called the Secret Book of John introduces a being known as the Demiurge. If you haven't watched that one yet, go ahead and watch it. You see, the word Demiurge means craftsman. And according to these Gnostic teachings, the Demiurge isn't the ultimate source. Instead, he is a lesser creator who believes that he is the highest God. So imagine a king ruling over a tiny island while believing that he owns the entire universe. Gnostics claim that this being created the material world and convinced humanity that this lower reality was all that exists. You see, in their view, our world is a copy, a shadow, a simulation-like reflection of a much greater spiritual reality beyond it. And here's where things start connecting. The Demiurge doesn't rule alone. He creates 12 rulers, the Archons. Now pay attention here, because this is where ancient mysticism gets incredibly interesting. The number 12 appears everywhere. 12 zodiac signs, 12 months, 12 hours on the clock, 12 disciples, 12 tribes of Israel. Coincidence? The Gnostics didn't think so. They believed 12 represented the structure of the entire cosmic system itself. According to their interpretation, each Archon governed a specific realm of influence connected to the celestial order. Now, in other words, the heavens weren't simply guiding humanity. They were governing it. The stars above became symbols of forces shaping personality, behavior, cycles, and destiny. Not necessarily helping humanity evolve, but keeping it moving in predictable loops. Ask yourself this: how much of your life is truly a conscious choice? And how much is it unconscious programming? You see, people repeat the same emotional patterns for decades. The same fears, the same habits, the same reactions. Now, whether you call it conditioning, karma, programming, or archonic influence, the effect is the same. You become predictable. And what is predictable can be controlled. The text describes 7 rulers connected to 7 heavenly spheres. Now, in the ancient world, 7 visible celestial bodies dominated the sky. The moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Ancient civilizations believed these planetary forces influenced every aspect of life: emotions, thoughts, relationships, success, failure, destiny. You see, to the Gnostics, these weren't just planets. They represented layers of influence acting upon human consciousness, almost like invisible operating systems running in the background. One of the oldest esoteric teachings is simple. Observe yourself, not your circumstances, yourself. Watch your reactions. Watch your emotional triggers. Watch the thoughts that arise automatically. The moment you become the observer rather than the reaction, you begin reclaiming your power. Then the text introduces one of its strangest concepts. It claims that there were 365 governing powers, one for every day of the year. Symbolically, this is profound because the prison isn't physical. It's time itself. Days look like this. You wake up, you work, you consume, you sleep, then you repeat it day after day, year after year. And most people never stop long enough to ask, why am I here? What am I becoming? Who would I be if all this external programming disappeared? The Gnostics believed that this cycle itself was part of the trap. And now we arrive at one of the most controversial scenes in the Gospel of Judas. Jesus encounters his disciples and he laughs. Not because he hates them, not because he's mocking them, but because according to the text, they don't understand what they're actually worshiping. When the disciples perform their ritual, Jesus tells them, I am not laughing at you, but because through this, your God will be praised. Now think about how crazy that statement would have sounded. The implication isn't that they were mistaken. It's that they have been serving something entirely different from what they believed. And this is where Judas becomes unique. Because in this version of the story, Judas is the only disciple willing to hear the deeper teaching. The only one willing to question everything. And questioning is always where awakening begins. Now, whether these teachings are literally true, symbolic, or somewhere in between, the deeper message still remains powerful. The prison is unconsciousness. Your chains are ignorance. And your key is awareness. The Gnostics called this gnosis. This is direct knowledge. Not belief, not blind faith, experience, inner knowing. The realization that who you truly are is far greater than the identity you've been given. So now you're probably wondering, what do I do with all this? Well, you can start here. Now, for the next 7 days, I want you to observe your thoughts without identifying them. I want you to question every fear. Ask yourself whether it belongs to you or was this inherited from someone else. Turn off distractions for an hour every day. Sit in silence. Start journaling. Start meditating, even if it's for 5 minutes. Study. Think. Because the moment that you begin examining your own mind, you'll start stepping out of the prison. And according to these ancient teachings, that's exactly what the Archons never wanted. You see, the greatest rebellion isn't violence, it's awareness. The greatest secret isn't hidden in a lost gospel, it's hidden inside you. And the moment that you truly know yourself, the game changes forever. And if you enjoyed videos like this one, go ahead and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, do you think the Archons are real entities? Or are they just the forces that control human consciousness? Because your answer to that question might change everything.